My people are so smart. And you know what else they say about my people? The polls. They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Today's video is brought to you by SKILLSHARE, the #1 online learning community for creators. Use the link in the description section below to start your learning experience today. If you give him an inch, he'll take a mile. In my personal experience, I have come to believe, respect, and understand that it is human nature to challenge authority and the limits of your boundaries within that space. This concept exists whether it be child to parent, student to teacher, employee to employer, and most notably, citizen to law enforcement. In each and every depiction of this yin and yang, there will always be a place for growth and evolution. Either the pupil can convince the authority figure that the boundaries are a bit extreme and unnecessary, that loosening of said boundaries can lead to greater development and won't be harmful, or the authority figure can convince the pupil that discipline within those boundaries that have been set will create more efficiency, accountability, and harmony. This will forever be a juggle of control and power, and the depths of power can never be established unless power is challenged. One person in particular who has always been willing to challenge power is the man that I call 45. Even when he was younger, 45 was in full swing of building his persona as one who would always challenge power and authority. He received a medical deferment to get out of going to Vietnam, claiming it was because of bone spurs. Now this came up as he was running for president of the United States the first time, and he started criticizing the late John McCain, claiming he wasn't a war hero.
Somebody should run against John McCain, who has been, in my opinion, not so hot. And I supported him. I supported him for president. I raised $1 million for him. It's a lot of money. I supported him. He lost. He let us down. But, he lost. So I never liked him as much after that, because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Do you agree with that?
He's a war hero because he was captured, okay? You can have, and I believe perhaps he's a war hero, but right now he said some very bad things about a lot of people.
Thing is, there was never any medical records or surgical procedures found to support this bone spur condition. Truth be told, I wouldn't have wanted to go to Vietnam either. But still, this was an indirect challenge of government authority. Plus the fact that his father had a few dollars helped out as well. Just something as simple as that was the initial inch. And like I said to start, if you give him an inch, he'll take a mile. Fast forwarding to present day and his more recent inches. Pause. The twice impeached and currently indicted one-term president of the United States has taken far more than just a mile. Reason being is that he's never been held accountable for any of his deceitful, corrupt, or illegal actions. If you've been a con man all your life with the ability to get away with everything, why would you stop there? During his first presidential campaign, many of the people around 45 were held accountable while he skated freely. They were indicted, charged, and sentenced to prison terms. A few to note were his campaign chairman Paul Manafort, who was convicted and sentenced to upwards of 47 months in prison. This was for sharing information with the Russian government officials that he was indebted to. 45's National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, who had to resign not even a month into his position because he was also working for foreign governments and also getting paid to do so. Then, last but not least, you have 45's lawyer, Mr. Michael Cohen, his personal Mr. Fix-It Man. Cohen at one point said that he'd take a bullet for 45, and he really meant it too, so we thought. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison for falsifying documents and paying off 45's porn star stories. You see that I use the word stories with emphasis because people talk about Stormy Daniels, but now all of a sudden people are really forgetting about Karen McDougal as well. I'm no kink shamer by far, but you can't be paying off your kinks with campaign funds. That's illegal, my guy, especially to hide something during a presidential campaign. There are just a few of his close people who were charged, and there's a pretty large list that could really stretch into that mile I was talking about. Now, is this most recent indictment just simply politics at play? Or will someone finally have the fortitude to hold 45 accountable for his corrupt practices? In all honesty, this indictment will probably be the first of many to come. My great grandmother used to say, birds of a feather, they flock together. Be careful who you're hanging around. Now, listening to this and some of my prior videos, many of you may assume that I'm not a huge fan of 45. You would be correct in your assessment. It is very difficult for me to respect ignorance. But the crazy thing is, I'm starting to appreciate the things that I have learned from 45. Without a doubt, the system would treat me extremely different, being that I'm a black guy and not as wealthy. But I'm low-key understanding why some people see hope in a buffoon. I'm learning that you can't always rely upon logic to guide everything. Emotion is a very powerful tool that doesn't use logic for its strength. A strong conviction and belief is what made the Wright brothers believe they could fly without being born with wings. 45 has made a lot of people believe that if you position yourself appropriately, you can definitely scoot your little inch far further than a mile. Deuces.
I need to open up a company for the transfer of all of that info regarding our friend David. I spoke to Alan about it when it comes time for the financing, which will be...
Listen, what financing?
We'll have to pay you. So
I'll pay the kid.
No.
There's also evidence of payments to suppress his story about an alleged Trump Tower doorman. He was trying to sell his story. All of this is about lies and the misuse of money and help from a corporation to influence the election, and according to the DA, to mislead voters. And the goal was Trump basically directed to delay the payment until after the election, because then, when people know about his deadbeat tactics, he would avoid paying altogether.